Hi, my name is Heather Martin, and I am the co-founder of YouRule. I am so glad you're here. I'm so glad you found YouRule. At YouRule, we're doing something a little different. We decided that we wanted to help you learn as much as you could about the United States and really fall in love with America. And a great way to assist you with this is our blogs, our political commentary, our observations, the interviews that we're going to be doing. But one of the best ways is to learn the founding documents of America, sort of examine America's DNA, so to speak. And I really learned to love America when I started looking into these documents and philosophy. And I'm just going to go through some of those books that I'm going to use with you. And that way it'll give you the chance to get your own copies of these, look at them for yourself, or bookmark them on your toolbar and with your iPad or laptop or whatever you're going to be using. And you can follow along, read these things, listen to the discussion, and see what you have to think for yourself. Because in America, you rule, and you need to have the tools in order to do that. So let me just go through these books really quick. I'm going to be using Thomas Paine, specifically his essay called Common Sense. It's called an essay, but it's really a small book. And it was one of the most popular political essays ever written. Definitely the best-selling political essay ever distributed in the United States. And it really helped set the tone for the American Revolutionary War mindset. I'm also going to be examining things from Montesquieu's Consideration of the Causes of the Greatness of the Romans and Their Decline. This is a very challenging book. Before we get into this, I'm going to take you through some basic Roman history that you'll need to know to really make sense of this. And this is really important for the structure of our republic. When we examine the Constitution, we're going to want to look at the lessons from history that our founders used to create that Constitution. We're also going to take a look at the second treatise on civil government by John Locke. I don't have the first treatise on government because I couldn't find a copy of that. I couldn't find it available for, inexpensively. So you can actually find the full copy of the first treatise on government that Locke wrote, which is really a rebuttal of a book that written by Sir Robert Filmer, who established the divine right of kings. This is the one most people are familiar with. We're going to take a look at both because they really are tied together. But anyway, if you want to look for a copy of this for yourself, or you can order one online. This is a great book. I didn't even know this one existed until a few years ago. This is Notes of the Debates in the Federal Convention of 1787, reported by James Madison. And this is all of Madison's notes of the Constitutional Convention debates. It has a foreword written by him, and it is fascinating. This copy is from Ohio University Press, and it actually has a very handy index in the back. It has an index to the delegates, so you can find out what they had to say about specific things, and it also has a general index, which just kind of covers, subjects and different words that you might want to search for. Obviously, if you can get a copy on your Kindle, you can do a word search. It's pretty handy, but you can see I marked it up. It's a really great resource. We're not going to read the whole thing, but we're going to take a look at some specific stuff. This is one of my favorite books. This is The Spirit of Laws by Charles Baron de Montesquieu, another one of the of the first book. This is another one from Montesquieu. Fantastic. We're just going to take a look at the first few chapters where he lays out a lot of stuff about natural law and some basic government structures. We'll take a look at Democracy in America, written by Alexis de Tocqueville. You can find the entire manuscript of Democracy in America online for free. You can also, I think, find the entire manuscript of The Spirit of Laws online for free, but I recommend buying copies. That way you can mark them up. I like to do that. And then we're coming to my absolute favorite and the way that I got into all this stuff, and that is the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers. And you can find a copy of multiple websites that give you the entire book of the Federalist Papers, and you can find the Anti-Federalist Papers online as well. These are my passion. I love the Federalist Papers. The Anti-Federalist Papers, not my favorite, but very, very important. I'm actually doing a video series on the Federalist Papers just by themselves. I'll probably intersperse some of this other stuff into the video series, but everything you want to know about the Constitution is contained in these Federalist Papers. And you can read selected Federalist Papers. I think it's very helpful to read as many as you possibly can. I'm going to be going into each one, and we're going to look at the subjects that they cover and the different civilizations that they compared and contrasted, methods of government, historical figures that are in these papers. It has been the cornerstone of my political education, and I just cannot sing their praises enough. So we're going to be taking a look at those. And then finally, I don't have hard copies of these, but we're also going to be looking at Blackstone's commentaries on English common law. It is a multi-volume set, which was too expensive for me to buy, so I just put them on my Kindle. Blackstone was the most famous British jurist who wrote multiple volumes on common law. It was really, really important. And since our Constitution is based on common law, mostly, a great book, a great set of books to look at. We're not going to do the whole thing, but I am going to pull some things out of there. And finally, last but not least, we're going to look at Emmerich Vattel's The Law of Nations, which was a very, very important book. Our founders used it extensively when they were writing the Declaration of Independence. And in fact, it's really funny. The copy of the Law of Nations that was kept in George Washington's local library, he checked it out and he never returned it. So just a really, really important book. Benjamin Franklin wrote a little letter to the editor that sent them a translated copy from, I can't remember what language Vattel wrote it in originally, but they got a translated copy into French, and they were reading it. They got a couple of copies of it, and they were reading it and reading it. And Benjamin Franklin sent a note to that editor and said, "Thank you so much for sending us this book. It received us in good condition and was very important as we were," how did he put it? Basically, they were writing this Declaration of Independence at the verge of a new nation being born. So it was super important, and the date of that letter was December of 1775, which I just love that. That gives me chills. So these are some of the things that we're going to be going into. We're going to also be looking at some great speeches, and we'll be looking at some of the really important founding documents like the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Virginia Declaration of Rights, and some of the founding charters for the original 13 colonies. I hope you just stay tuned, keep looking for the videos. Maybe this stimulated some of your imaginations and you want to get started collecting these books, or at least bookmarking their spots online. Just look for the videos to come, and remember, in America, you rule.